Well, hey guys, Pastor Jason here. I'm one of the pastors at North Park Church here in Columbus, Nebraska, and once again bringing your life group lesson to you for the week. And we're taking a break for 1 week from our Fearless series, and we're going to talk a little bit about temptation. So we'll be back to Fearless next week, jump right back into that. But for this week, a little departure, talking about temptation, and our primary verse for this week will be 1 Corinthians 10:13. So that's on your outline, or hopefully you guys have Bibles with you, and they're open to 1 Corinthians 10:13. I'm going to go ahead and read that right now. You guys follow along, short little verse, and then we will get into some discussion questions. So, no temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability, but with the temptation he will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. So, to start, that's it. Jump right into discussion questions. You see that word overtake. Overtake is a big word. Overtake means to be caught up with and possibly passed while traveling in the same direction. And we clearly see that temptation can overtake you there. It's something that's after you, and it can catch you. It can even pass you up. So, how have you been overtaken by temptation? Just pray about this. Think about your past. Try not to go too far into the past. Keep it as current and relevant as possible. And how have you been overtaken by temptation? And also bear in mind that temptation happens when you are enticed by your own desires inside of you, right? And entice, clearly, that word indicates two types of temptation. One is to be attracted by something, someone, some path that offers pleasure, or to be attracted by a thing, a path, or someone because it seems to offer advantage. So two types of temptation there. The temptation for pleasure or the temptation for advantage. So kind of bear that in mind, right? I mean, we know the pleasure stuff big time. Looking at the wrong things, drugs, booze, theft, that sort of stuff. But the advantage, like maybe a white lie on a job application, not speaking into something when you know that you should because you're afraid of the consequences, and it seems to offer some sort of advantage. So we've got the temptation of pleasure, temptation of advantage. Either one can overtake you. Question one, how have you been overtaken by temptation? Pray about that and talk about it now. Okay, question two. Our verse there, 1 Corinthians 10:13. Which part of that do you struggle with the most? Which part of that is the most difficult for you to apply? Which part of that is the most frustrating? Whatever it may be, however you may struggle. No temptation has overtaken you that's not common to man. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it. Which part of that is the biggest struggle for you? Pray about that and talk about it now. Okay, for question three, somebody read 2 Corinthians 1, verses 8 and 9 aloud in your group, and then answer this question. How do these verses help with or relate to our key verse from 1 Corinthians 10:13. So 2 Corinthians 1, verses 8 and 9, and then answer question 3. Do that now. Okay, so we're clearly told there that we can have circumstances that are far beyond our ability to endure. So in our key verse from 1 Corinthians, when God promises that we won't be tempted beyond our ability, we can see that doesn't have anything to do with our circumstances. That just has to do with our ability to resist. And it also ends with some very, very good purpose, the verses from 2 Corinthians 1, verses 8 and 9, which leads us to question 4. What encouragement or purpose can we see in this verse? In the verse that you just read from 2 Corinthians, or in our key verses from 1 Corinthians. So what encouragement or purpose can we clearly see in today's lesson? Pray about that and talk about that now. it's very encouraging to know that God is faithful, right? People don't need to be. He, with his power, he will protect us from, he will give us the strength to resist any temptation that he allows to come our way. And there's great purpose in it because it teaches us to rely on him. So, good stuff there. Question 5, takeaway question. What is God teaching you today? That could be anything. What are you being convicted about? What do you need to confess? What is God telling you that you can apply? What sort of encouragement are you getting from God as a result of this lesson today? Any number of things that God could be teaching you. So pray about that. Talk about that now. That's it for this week. I'll be back with you next week.